Hello. All right, everyone. Sorry, just getting set up here still. Finishing up my setup. First person on, if you can give me whoops, I was about to hit the wrong button there. If you can give me a sound check, let me know that you can hear me all right. First person on. Gotta turn off the audio on my laptop so that there's no interference. But jump on, say hello, give me a sound check. Let me know you guys can hear me all right. I got to give me a little clip for my mic so it sits in one spot and I can just clip it on without having to mess with the. Hi, Roro. How are you? Awesome. Fantastic. So as you guys are all getting ready there or jumping on, I'm just doing something in the background here. So give me 1 second. Bear with me if it looks like I'm not paying attention to you guys. I promise that I am. I just got to get something set up here really quickly so that everything flows nicely. So we're going to be drawing this little piece over here, this little boot and flowers from a reference photo. Now, we're going to change it up. We're not going to make it look exactly like that. But I'm teaching you guys how to draw from a reference photo, like I did the other day with the birds. Today, though, we're doing a little boot with flowers, some little sunflowers. The ones in the front, or the big one in the front, is a sunflower. I'm not sure what the other two are. Maybe those are a different type of sunflower. Let's see. All right. But anyway, as always, say hello in the comments. Hope you're all ready to do a little drawing. All you're going to need today is a pencil, just a little pencil, nothing. Pencil with an eraser. Make sure you've got an eraser or something else to draw with. You can also do this with a piece of chalk or chalk pencil. Even watercolor pencils can work to draw with. The important thing is that you can erase. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. All right, hold on 1 second. My background's going to change for just a moment, but that's all right. Okay, let's get that out of there. Yes. Okay. And whoa. Where'd you go? I might have deleted that a little prematurely. There we go. I think I gotcha. But anyhow, so today that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be drawing this boot and flowers from a reference photo. All you need is a pencil with an eraser. We're not going to be doing any painting on this. I'm just showing you how you would go about recreating a piece. Let's say you find a picture somewhere that you like and you want to change it up. You want to make it your own. You want to paint over it, but perhaps you wish to draw it first and you want to freehand it. This is how you would go about doing something like this. Now, what I want you to notice is that the boot, the picture is quite a bit smaller than the canvas that I'm going to be transferring it to, right? So we're taking a smaller picture and we're going to increase the size and make it bigger. Whenever you're taking a picture that you're going to recreate and you're going to make it the same size, that's always a lot easier to do when they're side by side because it's easy to reference the image for the proportions and things like that. That's a lot easier to do than when you're changing the size on something. Okay, so we'll talk about that here in just a moment. We're also going to be talking about a little bit about the membership, answering questions. Tonight is the closing of the membership doors. If you haven't become a founding member yet and you're planning on doing so, make sure that you do so. I wouldn't wait till midnight because that is when the doors close, and I wouldn't wait till right before midnight in case there's any problems with links or the payment methods, etc. I have had a few people send me messages letting me know that they've had some issues, but they've been minor. But just so you guys don't have those problems, if you are planning on joining, please don't wait till the last minute. Doors do close tonight at midnight. Okay, and again, that's for the founding members launch going on right now for the new art membership that I'm launching at the beginning of August. Let's say hello to some people. I've already said hello to Ro. How are you? Thank you for joining in today and for that sound check this morning or a little while ago. Alana, how are you? Alana Ackerman. Welcome back, Alana. Jessica Heldenbrand. How's it going, Jessica? I think you've been on here before. I do believe your name looks familiar to me. Penny, what's happening, Penny? And then there's Daphne Hanson Scott Reed from New Brunswick, Canada. Hi, Daphne. And then, of course, we got Tabitha. Good morning, good afternoon. So it is 10 o'clock, a little past 10 o'clock here in California. And we're going to get right into this pretty quickly, okay? Again, all we're going to be using is a pencil with an eraser. And I'm going to teach you how to recreate that little boot. And we're going to modify it. I don't want to recreate that exactly, but we're going to modify it a little bit. Please be sure to ask your questions in the comment section. As I'm drawing, I'm not looking over the comments too much, but I will from time to time. If I miss your question or anything like that, if I don't answer you and you see me looking at the comments, I'll let you know when I'm looking over at them. Just ask your question again, and we'll go from there. Okay, but especially for today, if you guys have any questions about the membership or anything like that, last details that you haven't seen answered or whatever, please put them in the comments. But anyway, I am drinking my coffee. I've got another coffee cup that I stole from my wife this morning, her Starbucks mermaid cup. Yep. Very manly. It's actually a pretty cool little cup. But anyway, drinking a little coffee to pick me up. I've been up since pretty early. But let's get right into this. Let me change the screen here. There we go. That way you get a better view of what I've got on my canvas. So I'm using an 11 by 14 inch canvas. The picture there is probably about half the size, the actual picture itself. Yeah, that's about maybe 5 inches in height, the entire picture. And that means that it is about 4 inches wide. So we're going to take that small image there and we're going to blow it up. Okay, we're going to draw this freehand. No stencils on this. We're just going at it, and we're going to tackle this freehand. Don't stress about it if you don't feel like your artistic abilities, your drawing abilities are up to par. Just pay attention, mimic what I'm doing, watch what I do, and do your best. Okay, the more you practice, just like with everything else, the better you get. Also, a couple of tips before we get going. Now, I'm going to make my lines light, but I'm going to make them a little darker than I normally would, so that the camera picks up on them more easily. Okay, what I mean is, what you see me doing over here is going to be darker than I would normally do my lines. The reason why I'm doing them so dark is, again, so you can see them. And the reason why I do them light, especially at the beginning, is so that it's easy to erase. Since I'm reproducing this on canvas, sometimes on canvas, the porous nature of the canvas or the little, the rough surface on the canvases make it a little difficult to erase, and so you can leave lots of smudge lines. The idea would be, though, that since I'm doing this on a canvas, that eventually I would paint over it, right? I would draw it, and then I'd paint over the top of it. Also, by using light pencil lines, I can paint over them without any problems. If you make them too dark and you plan to paint over them, unless you want to see your pencil lines coming through the paint, you're going to struggle a little bit to cover them, right? Cover them with the paint. So try to do yours light, so especially if you're planning on painting. But if you're planning on just drawing this, make them light and then maybe darken them up once you have exactly what you want on canvas. Okay? Not sure how much detail we're going to put into all of this, but we'll see as we go. All right, but here we go. Let's do this. Crystal Dornan, how's it going? I can't paint now, but we'll be there later. Sounds good. Crystal, what's happening? Anna, going to South Carolina on vacation watching. Fantastic, Anna. What's happening? Pamage, how are you? But all right, here we go. Let me take a look, make sure that we're good to go here. We are good to go, and I'm going to increase the size. Now, I'm not looking. There you go, Sandy. Oh, good one, Sandy. Sandy says, I would like to do that with my combat boots. There you go. Change it up however you'd like. If you want to make, I saw a picture with some combat boots, flowers flowers inside the combat boots. It looked pretty cool. So absolutely, you could do it with rain boots, right? You could do it with work boots, whatever you feel like doing this with, whatever applies to you, whatever you see would be perfect. But the image that I saw with flowers, there were actually flowers growing out of combat boots, was just really iconic, like really, really captivating. But anyhow, let's get to it. Let me change my screen here. I'm going to increase this here just so that I can see what it is that you guys are seeing. Make sure that you can see my pencil lines and such. Let's do a quick analysis of our boot here. We're gonna look at the boot first. So as far as the the width of the boot at its widest point, which is right about in here. Okay, we're going to do a quick kind of reference ratio check to this part right in here. And I'll start with a small part first. I'm going to do this. I just take my fingers to do a real quick assessment. I grab my fingers, bring this down like this. Okay, I just come straight down. And then how many of these fit inside of this? So I know how much larger this edge is. And I'm just doing an approximation. I come down like this. I come over. So this part of my boot is almost twice as wide as this. Almost. Okay, one real quick thing to look for. And then what about the height? So I'm going to take maybe right about in here. And I'm just kind of, we'll use this line right in here. How tall is this part right here in comparison to the rest of, to the top part of the boot, right? So again, I just take my fingers. I just do a real quick assessment. There's 1, 2, 3, maybe 3.5. 3.5 of these up to my line here, up to the stitch line. There's 3 of those height-wise. There's 1, 2, 3, actually 3.5. And then what we can say then is that if I go like this, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to go 1, 2, 2.5. So this top part right here is 2.5 times this. Again, just reference. Nothing too crazy, just a real quick assessment. My final dimensions are going to be a little different. I plan on maybe making this a little taller. We'll see. Just so that we have a quick gauge of what's going on. What I don't want to do is I don't want to start my boot and then make it so tall that I leave very little room for my flowers. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to lightly come in here and just draw kind of the area where I want my flowers to sit. And it's just kind of a cloud that I'm creating. I want my clouds to kind of sit in here. I have my flowers to sit right about in this area. So this top flowers, let me show you what I did. I know this is hard to see because it's really light, but just so that you have an idea, all I did is just kind of take a really light outline of where I want those flowers to sit. I can see it. Now, the final placement for my flowers may change a little bit, but that's about where I want those flowers. On my canvas, that's where I envision those flowers to be. Now, this big flower right here is going to be pretty prominent. It might even overlap right here a little bit. It's obviously going to overlap the top of my boot. But then if I was to look at the top of my boot, the top part of my boot is going to be about right in here. Okay, right about. So again, top part of my boot about right in here. We're going nice and light on our pencil lines. My little cloud is about right in here. Right now we're just kind of gauging. It's a more or less where everything is. We're estimating where the different parts of our painting are going to be, or drawing. Okay. Now I probably went a little too far forward with this line. I want to pull it back a bit because we got the front part of the boot, right? It's going to be sticking up over here. And if this is too far over, then we don't leave any room for the boot, for the heel part, for the toe. So we want to bring it back a little bit. So the back part of my boot is probably going to be about right in here. So we make little adjustments as we go. We make a line or two, we make an assessment, and then we go. So the bottom of the my boot height is going to be about right in here. Okay, total boot height about. So I'm just going to put a little line where the heel would be, where the bottom, the sole would be, right about in here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring the back part of my boot line. I'm going to bring it down. Now we're going to be drawing for about maybe an hour. Okay, not too much. And I don't want to go too fast, and I don't want to go too slow. Remember, if you miss anything, this will be recorded. This is being recorded, and you're going to be able to watch it later. Now, a couple things I want you guys to notice. This is what we have so far. We have a little cloud up on top about where my flowers are going to sit. We got the top part of the boot. Now, most of this is going to be covered with that big flower that we're going to be putting in there, right? But I do want to be able to see it for now. It just helps me visualize the whole thing. We got the back part of the outline, okay, right here, comes down. There's a little bit of a curve to it. Okay, then right here, actually probably went a little too high, too low, but that's okay. I curve this back in. Now you notice all my lines are rough. I'm actually doing a bunch of lines. It's like I'm doing this with my pencil, right? As I'm going across my canvas. Once I have my outline where I want it, I'll go in there. I'll go in there and refine with my eraser. So the heel of my boot, this part in here, kind of comes down. Now it's okay if I go past my line here that I put down. It's just a reference point. The heel comes forward a little bit. Very loose way to sketch, draw. Okay, I've got my pencil line. I'm holding it from the back part near the eraser. Okay, next thing that I'm going to do, let's see here. We're gonna bring this down. So this also angles inward, kind of like this angled inward. Okay, and this is going to stop about right here. So I'm just going to put a little mark down. Okay, that's about the front part right here where it begins. Oops, I was blocking the camera there. This angled line right here, front part of the boot. Okay, about. Actually, I'm going to bring it down a little bit because it looks like I'm a little too high. So we do a line, we make an assessment, and then we go. Okay, so this is going to come down. Oops. Trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing. Let me move my hand over to the side here. A little tricky, I'm at an angle, but we got it. Again, look how I'm holding my pencil. Look how it's nice and loose. There's nothing fancy here. Connect those two lines together. Okay, now the tip of my boot, it's going to be somewhere over here. Okay, it's going to be somewhere over here. So I'm going to go ahead. How wide is this? So again, what was the assessment? This width part here, the widest part of our boot, how wide is it in comparison to this? So how wide should this be in comparison to this? Well, we went like this. We brought this down, we went over, and so this here is almost 2 times this width. Okay, so if we bring this in, if this is our width for this part, we come down and we go like this. Okay, so we're about right. So right about there. And of course, boots are all different, right? Different sizes. So if yours is a little bit longer, that's okay. Okay, there's the front of my boot. Comes down. Goes up. Now I'm going to go ahead and make this part right in here. This line that comes up over the heel stops about right there. And again, rough sketch, rough, loose pencil lines. Okay. So I've got my heel part here, this line down in there. It's a little too low, so I'm going to bring it up a bit. Goes forward. And then up. Okay. So I'll work on that for a moment. Let me take a look at your questions, comments, see if there are any, or your hellos, what have you. Let's see. Hi, Debbie. Debbie Sanderson. How are you? Debbie says, hi, Jesse. Just after 6 p.m. here in the UK. It's been hot again all day, so I'm going to enjoy painting with you this evening. Sounds fantastic, Debbie. So here's the thing. Just want to make sure everybody understands. I'm not actually painting today. I'm just going to be doing a quick sketch on this, showing you how to sketch from a reference photo. We'll add a few little details on the inside of this. We'll get the flowers in there, but we will not get to painting on this today. Maybe another day I'll come back in and we'll paint it, or you can paint it on your own. Okay, if you've got a little bit of painting experience and you want to give it a shot, you want to jump in and paint with this, that would be perfect. But for now, for today's session, we're just going to sketch this out, okay? But all right, how's it going, Renee Philbick Greco? She says, first time watching. Welcome, Renee. Thank you for stopping by. There you go, Tabitha. You get to see what your drawing skills are like. Oh, in a little bit, after this is over, I'm going to come back. We're going to have a little kids drawing session. We're going to be drawing the little axolotl fish from Minecraft. Little axolotl fish in a bucket. Okay, so for those of you with kiddos, you want to come on back, 12 o'clock. That's what we're doing. We're going to draw that. Okay. All right. Let us continue with our boot. Let me change my screen once again. Give you guys a little time to catch up on the drawing part of it. Okay, so every time I draw or paint, what I like to do is I like to step back and take a look and make a little assessment. This little guy right here, this area back in here, sticks out a little too far in comparison to the original. We can change that. Remember, we do light lines. Why? Partly so that we can erase. Very important. All right, nothing wrong with erasing. So let's take a real quick look right in here. This line, the leather of the top part of the boot comes in and attaches to the top of the heel, but there's a little curve, creates a little angle in there where that leather connects to the top of the heel. Nothing real fancy, right? Nothing real or super important. It all depends on how much detail you're trying to create within your drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start right here. I erased it, then I'm going to start right here and make this line right in there. So that connects about right here, curves up a little bit, and then comes back up. Now, my hand moved up on the pencil. Why? Because I need to be a little bit more precise with this. Okay? I needed to get a little more precision. So I moved forward, moved it closer to the tip. Okay? The closer I get to the tip, the more precision I'm looking for. If I'm not looking for too much precision, I hold the pencil back here, nice and loose. Okay, so from here, now I don't need too much precision, so I went back to a lower grip on my pencil. Whoops, maybe I do need a little more precision. So automatically just went back up, just from experience. Okay, so here we go, right up. Connect these lines. Okay, there we go. I like that. Now, next thing, right in here, this little border, the bottom of the heel, or the sole of the boot, right in here. There's a little line that comes down. All it is a little extra. It's almost like you're creating an outline, right? Following the curvature of your boot. And let's see, I can't quite tell in the picture if that goes over the top, over the heel, but I think it does. Actually, it wouldn't be that apparent, I think. There we go. I think we're going to leave it right there for now. Let me take a look at this really quickly. Oh, yeah, there it is. It is there. It's just a little hard to see because it's all the same color. So all I did was add a little border. Okay. Now I can go a little bit darker with my lines. There's our little boot with the border. Now, if you're struggling at all, don't stress about it. Relax. Have fun with it. You can always do this as many times as you need to get it right. Okay? So don't stress out. Have fun with it. That's the biggest advice I can give you, the best advice I can give. Now, let's see. A little curvature in here. We're going to fix that here. We're actually going to erase this top line. I like the curved line I did below it. I'm going to fix that line up on top. But anyway, I don't think we did a toast. Cheers to all of you hanging out with me today. Whatever you're drinking, I think I saw a couple of you say water. Maybe some of you are drinking some tea or soda. Got my tasty coffee there. But okay, let me go ahead and I'm going to erase this line right in here. Remember, it's about making little adjustments as you go. I know for some people it's frustrating to have to erase. It's all part of drawing. When I was learning to draw when I was a kid, I remember I would get super frustrated anytime I had to erase. I wanted every line to be perfect. The moment that I put my pencil down and made my line, I wanted that line to be exact. That's not. Yes, sometimes it happens. Sometimes the lines that you put down are perfect and you're good. But more often than not, you're going to make little adjustments as you go. It's okay. All right. I had to learn that patience and learn that was part of how it goes. Okay. But okay, let's see. What else can we add to the boot before we get it? You know what? Before we get into any more on the boot, I'm going to get into the flowers. The reason why I want to do that is that if I start to add too much detail, if I go too high up, and then I make this really large flower here and I cover some of it up, I worked a little extra for no reason, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove this border on top of my boot. Okay, I'm going to step back and make a little assessment. Let's take a look, see what we have. Excuse me. Are things looking good proportionately? Yeah, they're looking pretty good. I like what I've got. Okay. Now you notice my lines down here are a little darker than my lines up here. The reason why I did that, and it was kind of a subconscious thing, instinct and experience, right? Combination of both. But I know that this is already pretty close to what it's going to look like at the end. Maybe to all of this in here, there will be no more adjustments because I like what I've got there. But this up here may change a little depending on the flowers that I add. So this appears a little bit lighter. Again, nothing that I consciously was thinking about. Is more of a subconscious thing that happened as I was drawing. But the first thing I want to look at is this big flower right in here. Okay, now this flower can be huge. It could be a little smaller. It all depends on you. But what I'm going to start with is the center part, the circle right in the center. And it's not quite a perfect circle, but it's pretty close. Okay, now the petals on the sunflower, if you were to gauge and try to match it proportionately, they're probably about right in here like this. Okay, it would go about from here to here. And that circle, already I can tell that circle is about half the width of the top part of the boot. About. So it sits about right in here. Don't need a lot of precision here. I'm using a rough sketch first. So I'm holding my pencil back a bit. As far as the design on the boot, I'll be changing that up. It's going to look a little different. Maybe even the leaves that I use, the leaves that I put in the background are going to look a little different. Okay, but here's the center of my sunflower. Now that's the prominent piece of all of the flowers, right? Actually, it's even more prominent than the boot itself, somewhat, because it seems to have a little of a 3D effect where the flower comes out at us. But those are the two primary focal points of our drawing, here and here, right? The boot and the flower. The other flowers are behind them, behind the flower in the front. There's different ways to get that effect. We could draw the stuff in the background first and then draw the big flower in the front, but we're going to go ahead and do the petals around this big sunflower. I'm going to start with this big petal on this side. Okay. And then I can work my way around, but first I'm going to come over to the other side. There's that big petal over to the side. Goes off to the side a bit, away outside of the boot. Again, keep your pencils nice and light, pencil lines light, so you can erase. We're going to be doing a little bit of overlapping here in a moment. Let's go to one of the petals here up on top. I'm just picking up the petals that stick out to me, and I'm going with those. They're also going to act as markers, placeholders, where all the other little petals. So this gives me kind of the overall shape of my flower. These big main petals that I'm adding right now. I'm going to go over here to this one. And all the other little petals that I add after are going to go in between. Okay, I'm going to come over on this side. Now this petal overlaps this big petal that I've already drawn. And it doesn't really matter too much. Again, you can change it up a little. I'm not trying to recreate an exact match here. Okay, let's see over here. Let's go to that one. Get nice and loose. Nothing fancy about this. I'm going to start adding the little petals now. So we'll be doing stuff like this in the membership, drawing and painting from reference photos. Okay, lots of fun stuff to be had in there. If you haven't signed up yet, or you're still contemplating it, just keep in mind that today is the last day. I've already had a couple of people send me messages saying, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know, the membership was open. How did I miss this? So I've sent quite a few reminders. I know I'm even sounding a little bit spammy. I'm talking about it a lot, but I envision that tomorrow at some point I will be getting messages from people that missed it. The doors close at midnight tonight. There's a link in the description of the video. If you go into the description of the video, there's a link in there that takes you to the Facebook post where I talk about the details within the membership. There's links in there to sign up with and stuff like that. So, but today's the cutoff. Tonight, midnight Pacific time. Doors close, and the doors will open again in the fall. I'm just going through and adjusting a little bit. I'm using my eyes. I take a little step back. Once I've gone through and brought over as many petals as I want, I just make little adjustments to make my flower look a little bit more uniform, a little more aesthetically pleasing. There we go. Anyhow, I've had a few people telling me that they didn't know what was happening, right? So there's a link included in the description of the video where you can go see the original post when the membership went live. Instructions on how to get in are included in there. All right, but so doors will open back in the fall. That's where I was. Doors will open back up in the fall, but the price will be higher. Right now, the founding members' price is $20 a month. You sign up with PayPal or Stripe, your choice. You can also pay for the entire year at a cost savings of 2 months. So you get 12 months for the price of 10. I sound like a commercial right now. But anyway, those are the details. If you're interested, just don't forget. I think most everybody that's going to get in is already in, which is awesome. But in case there's any stragglers out there or people that weren't quite aware. But all right, so there's my big sunflower. Okay, always take a little step back, assess your image. Is there anything that needs to be adjusted? Are you happy with what's there? So I've got little smudges here where I made some corrections. Again, smudges are okay, especially if you're going to be painting. You're going to be covering them up. You just want to make sure they're light enough that you're going to be able to cover them. Now, when you use the yellow paint, acrylic paint is always transparent, especially the first layer. When you layer that yellow paint over the pencil lines, especially at first, are going to come through your paint. It's going to require 2, maybe 3 layers often, sometimes even more, to cover those up. Okay, just part of how it goes. Okay, so take a moment. Let's see, what time do we have? It is 10:32, and we're going to be drawing till 11 o'clock. Okay, almost there. Renee Philbeck, absolutely. So the membership is for anything from a beginner to an experienced drawer and painter. Most of the stuff that's in there will take you from a beginner to an intermediate painter and beyond. Okay, so what I mean by that is there are going to be some things in there that are quite a bit more complex. The way that I'm planning on doing the sessions, we're going to have at least 2 complete tutorials a month. For the adult content, we're going to have at least 2 for the kids, 1 drawing, 1 painting, but I'll be adding more as the membership continues to go to move forward. But from beginner to novice, there's going to be a lot of that stuff in there. But there's also going to be quite a bit to do if you're more experienced. A lot of the stuff that you see behind me, if you can see the wall behind me, is stuff that we've done in Painting with Jesse, the open group page. There's going to be a lot of this style of painting within there. But the focus will be on growth, on taking everyone's abilities and improving on them. There's going to be question and answer sessions. There's going to be fundamentals workshops. This is apart from the actual complete tutorials in drawing and painting. We're going to be doing fundamentals classes where we talk about things like color mixing, shading, working on, drawing really skinny lines or painting really skinny lines. One of the most difficult things for people to do is to make really tiny lines. So things of that nature. We're going to also work on, let's say, One workshop will just be on clouds. Another one will just be on water, trees, mountains, etc., etc., etc. So there's going to be lots of stuff, lots of value within the workshop. At $20 a month for the founding members price, it's a really rock bottom price. So if you're interested, like I said, click on that link, and then you'll see there's a lot more details in there. Or send me a message on Messenger. Okay. But all right. But content for both adults and for children. Eventually, the children's membership will split. It'll become its own. But as a founding member, you'll have access to both the adults and the children's content. But all right, let's take a look at the next flower. And that's this one right in there. Okay, we've got a little button up on top. Okay, this little center here looks like a little chocolate, like a little milk dud or something. You got it, Renee. My pleasure. That's right, Penny. I will see you in there. So let me give you a little close-up of what I just did. So this little guy right up on top. I started with the center of this flower first. Okay, now around that I'm going to go ahead. Now I know this is a smaller flower. Let me go back to my large screen size so I can get a better view of what you all are seeing. There we go. So now we've got the little petals around it. I'm going to start with this petal over here on the side. It looks like almost like a little triangle or arrowhead. Comes out, comes in like this. Okay, I'll come over to the other side, and the reason in this case why I'm not just simply working my way clockwise or counterclockwise is by jumping around. I can better start creating the size of my flower. Okay, so I'm going to come up on top here, and I'm going to come out like this. Make one of those little skinny ones that's up on top. There's like 2 or 3 that are overlapping right there, so we're going to make them all at once. Why not? Okay. We're looking at that flower more at an angle, okay, whereas this one we got more of a top view. The side flowers are always a little trickier when you're looking at them from an angle because of your perspective. Trying to create that perspective in there can be tricky. Now, here's one thing that will help a little bit with that perspective. This petal that I added right here, actually I'm connecting it right to the side of my little center. Okay, it actually overlaps. Little subtle things like that make a difference. Okay, now I'm coming down, making the one down in here. Okay. You notice the one up on top on the other side, you don't see much of it. Okay, that's because of, again, perspective. That petal right there is just as long, the one up on top is just as long as these other ones, but because of its positioning on the other side, the perspective part of it makes it look like it's a little tiny thing, right? So just little observations, little subtle things that work to create some realism within your drawing and painting. Okay. All right. Let's see here. The one's on this side. Got this big one down here. It kind of hangs over the side like that. Got another one right in here. And we got one right in here. And then maybe we have one right over there. So about something like that. Once you start to add leaves and stuff around it, okay, it starts to make more sense. But there's that one. Now I'm going to come over on this side. We're going to go ahead and tackle that one. This one sits right back here, somewhere in there. And again, you got a little bit of a side view. Petal on top. I'm going to speed things up just a little bit. We started at 10. We can go over 11 by a little bit, but don't want to keep you guys too long. Okay. I'll come over to the other side. Again, folks, there is nothing wrong with erasing. Okay. I want you, I know for this OCD more OCD minded of us, that it's a little hard to get smudge lines on your surface. Now again, I'm using a little precision here, so I'm holding my pencil a little closer to the tip. But erasing is part of it. So is practice. The more you practice, the better you're going to get. Push through the frustrating aspects. Sometimes it can be tricky, I know. So I just came around and added a few of these. Once I paint this, if I decided to paint it, and I don't know that I am yet. Now, I'm not painting it today, but if I decide to paint it later, once I paint it, I can always make modifications. I can make some of the petals a little bit bigger. I'm going to add, let's see. Actually, I think we're okay. Oh, one is sticking out on that side. All right. And then we do have one that's sticking out over here. Okay, kind of hanging out over the side. That one's a little, it's really odd because you barely see the little, because of its position, you barely see the little center, the little piece in there. And then we got this petal that kind of sticks up. That guy right there. Oops, too large. Okay. There's a long one right here. Another one next to it. Big one here over to the side. Okay. I'm going to use this petal here. I'm going to bring it out a little bit. There's that side view. Now remember, this is being recorded. If some of you want to come back and do this later, or you want to come back, or you're starting right now and maybe you're not catching all of this, just come on back and watch the recorded session. You could pause it, rewind, back it up, rewind, back it up. Can't rewind. I suppose you technically it's you're just backing it up. You're not rewinding. But okay. So we've got our flowers in there. What about the leaves? So let me go ahead and refine the top edge of my boot. So I want that, let's see. Let's go about right here. Okay. And then the back part of my boot, on the back part here, you won't see that top edge. Okay, well, we got the front there. We're going to, let's see, bring this down. Now I can go ahead and darken this up a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. I have a decision to make. This line right here, the edge of my boot comes across. I have to imagine it comes through here. It's actually covered up pretty well by these leaves. By these petals, where I can envision this line coming across. I think it's covered up pretty well. But just to make sure, I'm just going to increase the size on this petal a little bit. Okay. So you see how we make adjustments, right? We make little adjustments as we go. You let your drawing, your painting, take a little shape as we go along. But let's go ahead and start adding some of these leaves. Had a little mental block. Been lacking sleep these last few days, last few weeks, a little bit. All right, just going to draw a little stem, comes across like that. Maybe that's a big tall one. Now you can change the type of leaves that you have. I'm going to go ahead and change these. They don't have to look exactly like that. All I know is I have a stem that comes across, curls over. Now these little leaves that connect to it. I'm not going for perfect realism here or anything like that. Okay. Close is just fine. Okay, we got another one. Maybe comes up across like this. Goes behind these petals. Comes up over the top. And then the same thing. Let's add some leaves. You notice I'm staggering them from one side to the other. Just working my way around the petals can be a little tricky. It's okay. All right. Now, maybe here we've got a thick leaf. And then maybe here, no, we'll leave that like that for now. Another one right up on top of here, comes up over the top. What's that? Now, if some of you want to create different types of leaves within your drawing, please do so. Get creative with it. Okay, that's what we're looking like right now. I'm going to take a moment here in just a bit. Awesome, Renee. Sounds great. Now, I'm not sure if you saw at 12 o'clock, in case I think you might have seen it, but for those of you that might have missed it, at 12 o'clock, we're drawing the little axolotl fish from Minecraft, okay? We're going to draw this little guy right here, little bucket and the little fish sticking its little head out, okay? For those of you that got some kiddos who want to bring them back so we can do a little drawing together. So a few minutes, so this will be over a little after 11 o'clock, this session right now, and then we'll come back and do that at 12 o'clock, okay? So bring them on back. Sounds good, Tina. No worries. You know this is recorded, so come on back. But all right, let's go ahead and jump around to the back here. We've got some little leaves that are sticking out the back, branches and leaves. That's what it was, branches. So just a few more little leaves here. You can also add flowers to the tips of these, right? Maybe throw in different types of flowers. Up to you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add a couple of long leaves that kind of pop out. Now, those don't necessarily have to be connected to my sunflower. They could, or they could belong to something else behind everything. I'm going to draw one that comes out like this. Now, here at the top, maybe I got a little leaf that's kind of hanging over just to break this up a little. Kind of like that. Like I said, you can add other types of flowers. I'm going to add another leaf that sticks out right there. I'm just trying to fill all this up with foliage. So once I begin to paint all of this, and again, we're not getting into the painting part of it today, but once I get to painting and I start to see what everything looks like, I can add stuff that I didn't draw in. So for example, maybe I want a leaf in there, or in between here, I just want little tiny lines that look like branches. Or I do a couple of branches that stick out over the top of that flower, right? So there's different adjustments that I can make to my piece. What's happening, Abby? How are you? Welcome. But you can change things up once you start to paint. Or if you're not going to paint, you're simply going to draw, well, then you add all the elements that you want to add in now, right? So we could come in here, for example, and I could shade the inside of this. If I was looking to draw this, I'm only going to draw this. This is going to be finished in pencil. I can come in here with my pencil, and this is a basic number 2 pencil. There are fancy pencils that we're going to talk about eventually, in time, in the membership. Pencils that will aid you in your drawing abilities because they serve different purposes, right? So that's the center of my sunflower there. Then I can take my finger or a piece of paper. I can use my finger to smudge out the center. It creates a shading effect, okay? Also, if you notice here on the edges of the flowers, the dark areas in there, I could put those in with pencil. Right? I can do this. I'll give you a close-up in just a moment. I come around. Just little parts, not every single section has to have it, and you can play with it a little bit. But then same thing, I come in here with I'm just fixing them a little bit, making some of these in between the petals. right? So you can kind of bring them up. There's a lot you can do with just pencil. Sometimes when I do portraits, I do them just in pencil. All my shading and everything happens with pencil, and you can really get some nice lifelike drawings or renderings of what whatever your subject is in pencil. But just a little touch, a little taste of what you can do with pencil, right? So again, you just use your pencil to come in here and add those little darker areas on the insides of those petals. Okay, so there's that. Now let's take a look at the boot. What should we do with that boot? First off, I am going to take, there's a line, well, let's see. Let me pull up some boot images that I saved up. You won't be able to see them, but, oops, we don't want that. Give me 1 second. There was one boot in specific that I really liked. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There you are. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so I'm just taking elements up on top here, maybe this here, this little section here is a little different. This right here, this little centerpiece. So right about here, underneath this flower, we're going to bring that piece down. And it looks like it comes down quite a ways. Kind of does that. It's like the straps right at the top. It's almost like these little straps or these little loops. I don't wear boots. I mean, I have in the past here and there, but nothing wrong. I'm no boot expert, but those little loops on top, I think you somehow can use those to pull up your boots. Okay, but I think this needs to come down. Let's see. We'll stop right there for now. And right here in the center, we're going to bring that little crease in between. That comes straight down. So we're talking about that little crease in the center. It looks like that's a common theme or thing boots have. Okay. And then we're going to take, we're going to take a little stitching right in here. This little stitch line that comes over, comes across, and maybe goes up like that. All right, let's see what else do we have on my other boot over here. This one's pretty cool looking. We got these, we got a little design up here. This one actually has flowers in it. Let me see, it goes inwards, comes out. So it goes in and out. I see. It goes like this. There's just a little design in here. Now you can add flowers to yours, whatever you'd like to do with yours will be perfectly fine, right? Let me go back to my screen here to make sure that we got these little squiggly lines in here. Now here on top, you can make these little flowers. Or maybe yours has long, pointy petals like those. I'm going to give mine a couple of little leaves just like that. I don't like that one. Okay. Well, you do the same thing back here. Let's see. Why not? Let's see. How would I do this one? Come across. So I'll come across. Yeah, kind of similar, I guess. Maybe a little smaller. Hi, Catherine. How's it going? Thank you. Okay, maybe got a little leaf right here. No, let's see. I don't like that. So a lot of times when I'm kind of recreating something on the fly like this, where I'm taking reference photos and adding, but also adding my own touch, I'll create something. I'll put something in there just like I did that, and right away I can feel if I like it or not. Okay, use that kind of. You look at it, and you go, oh. When you feel it, you'll feel it, right? If you like it, done. But if you don't like it, you can change it. No big deal. Again, nothing wrong with erasing. Bring this out like this. Maybe got a little flower right here. Same thing as the ones in the front. So I'm going to make that a little smaller. Okay. Maybe this one also has another one that comes up over the top. And these little flowers can be different colors. Okay. Got a little flower over here in the front. Who knows? You can add whatever you like, your own little touches, but I'm going to add a little flower in here. Let's see. I'm going to imagine the flowers right on top of the boot. So you're only going to see part of the flower. Let's say it's right in the center of that boot. Okay, so I'm starting with that. I'm only going to see what's on this side, what overlaps on this side of my boot. And maybe this one, maybe these are going to be long, more like the sunflower. The petals are going to be more like the. And in this case, because I know all my petals, I'm going to make all my petals the same length. I can do them all at once, or about the same length. Okay. But you take your time with it. Don't be afraid of using your eraser. Don't be afraid of smudge marks. Don't look for perfect on the very first attempt. Okay, where else? Maybe we've got a flower back here too. Sits on the back of the boot, back of the heel. Okay, so same thing. We're going to do a little center. A little smaller. Okay, there's another one. Okay, awesome, Catherine. So we're only drawing today. Okay, we're only drawing this guy today. Sounds good, Julie. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, this will make a really nice painting. I tell you guys what, if I got time, I'll come in and we'll paint this. We'll paint this sometime over the next week. Okay. I don't know that I'm going to have time. I have a really extremely busy schedule right now, but there's a chance we'll come in and paint this. It deserves to be painted. Okay. Now, what else can we add to this? Up to you. You get fancy. Maybe yours, has another flower at the tip. I'm not going to add one there. Maybe a giant petal could come off. A giant leaf could come off of this. Actually, I wouldn't make it go backwards. I'd make it go at an angle downwards, a little less pronounced at an angle, kind of like this. Do I like that? No. Again, what does it feel to you like, right? If you like something, leave it. If you don't, you can change it. I could add a little leaf here, but we're not going to add that there. But anyway, let's say I was done with my drawing. At least I feel like it's getting close to done. I would go through and refine things like my edges. I erased most of my floor, so I'll add that in a moment. There's the bottom of my heel there. Oh, really quickly. So depending on your angle, you might be able to see some of the inside, okay? The inside here of your heel. So right in here, I'll give you a close-up in a moment. There's perspective, a little perspective in here. Okay? So here's the body, here's my heel, the side view, right in there. Now in here, a little perspective, because we're seeing the inside now. And it just goes up and gets lost underneath the edge of the sole. Okay, so we got the edge here. This is the side view, right? But you can still see the inside of that heel, and it gets lost back up inside under the boot. Okay, little tiny touches that take your drawings and your paintings to another level, little by little. Now, you can leave. You don't have to leave that. You don't have to have that. You can leave that out, and you'll be fine. But adding that extra little element just gives your boot a little added, little pop to it. Okay, and then I would go through here and come in here and let me define my edges here. Okay, I can go through and erase smudge lines. Now my floor, as far as my floor, maybe my floor is back here. This could be in a garden somewhere, right? Maybe it's outside in a garden and you have grass all around your grass and other types of flowers around your boot. I don't know. You know, one of those things where it's up to you. Okay. And I just try to match up my line across. I imagine where this line comes across. So that probably comes across right about here. Again, you notice my first lines aren't always perfect. I can come in here and I erase. Part of the fun and the process. Okay. Let's see. Let me take a step back. Always take a step back and assess from a distance. You want to. It just gives you a better perspective on everything. Okay. I like it. The only thing. Is personally, I would add more leaves and a little bit more up in here. Just fill it up with a little more density. Now, obviously, like I mentioned, these are different leaves than what's on here, on those there. But that's okay. That I wasn't looking to recreate these exactly. I could go in there and attempt that, no problem. But I just feel like this needs a little bit more density, and if I was going to paint that, I would add those afterwards. I would leave the drawing as is, and then I would add those. Whoops, let me see here. And then I would add those with paint afterwards. Okay, I would go through there. So here's the tricky part about this painting this in the background. When you paint the background in, that could be really tricky getting in between these type of leaves. Something like this, I would normally paint the background in first. Let's say a light background. I'd paint the background before I drew anything on the front. Before I drew anything, I would paint the background in first. If I draw it like this, it still works. I just have to add my paint in around my leaves. Okay, so different approaches, different styles. And then you can always add a little bit of a shadow underneath your boot. Let's give a little bit of a more realism here. We'll add a little bit of a shadow right underneath it. Or maybe we got a light source. It's kind of directly on top. Just a little bit. Okay, and I'll take my finger and I'll smudge it out. All right. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our little drawing session. Let's see, it's a little past 11 o'clock. Let me escape here the big screen so I can see your comments. Liliana, this is 11 by 14. Okay, this canvas here is 11 by 14. So, but yeah, any size will work. You know, again, part of the thing was taking a smaller image and expanding it to make it fit a larger canvas or whatever it is you're reproducing it on. It's always easier when you're producing about the same size. When all you're doing is drawing the object the same size. That's always easier because You can look at them right next to each other, and you got your proportions right there. It's easier to gauge proportions. You got it, Liliana. We'll see you in the membership. Okay. Yeah, it's always easier to draw when they're the same size. When they're different sizes and you have to increase size or lower the size, that can get a little bit tricky. Okay. But anyway, we are done today for this little session. Remember, at 12 o'clock, I come back and do the little kids session. It's just going to be a drawing session just like today. Now, as I mentioned, if there's time later in the week, we'll come back and we'll paint this. But I'm not sure that I'll have it. I don't want to make any promises. But awesome, Vanessa. There you go. 6x9 sketchbook. Awesome. Yeah, sketchbook, drawing and painting. That's a lot of fun I know lots of people love to do that. I have so this is a little sketchbook back here that I sometimes use I'll use my sketchbook when I think of something, I'll recreate it on a sketchbook. And then if I like it, I transfer it over to a canvas. Or I'll do a whole bunch of them on a sketchbook, and then only the ones that I really like, I'll transfer over to a canvas. But yeah, sketchbooks. It's nice to have sketchbooks. But all right, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget, closing of the membership doors is this evening. We got quite a few people in there already, so we're going to have a lot of fun. It launches Monday, August 2nd is the actual first day that the membership takes off. Now, after tonight, when the doors close, I will be in touch with all of the members, the people that signed up, to kind of give you, I know I've sent out emails already, all but to the people that signed up last night and today. But anybody that signed up previously, I've already sent out an email. There's a survey in there with some questions. I want to get some feedback just to help me kind of tweak the membership a bit, fine tune it, if you will. But during the week, over the next few days, I'll be sending out just little, details, information as to how you're going to access the group, et cetera, et cetera. A calendar of events. I've got that lined up, and so be on the lookout for that. But all right, everybody, thank you so much. You got it, Barbara. My pleasure. You got it, Catherine. Thank you all for hanging out. I will see you guys maybe at 12 o'clock, okay? All right, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.